This is the Ruckus and The Menace Sports Podcast.
Oh no! We suck again!
I'm getting confused. What game are you calling?
I'm calling both games.
It is caught by Kelsey! Touchdown! Kansas City!
I need 3 of those things, baby! We ain't done yet! We ain't done yet! You like that? You like that? I like that!
Ruckus and the Menace Sports fam, how's it going? You are watching episode number 134 of the Ruckus and the Menace Sports Podcast. I'm Menace the Menace.
And I am Ruckus, always causing a ruckus. Let's get that three-peat, baby!
Not time yet. And it is. And on the starting episode, it's Super Bowl week. And we will have a couple of things notable in the transaction log, plus some housekeeping that we kind of want to do to start out. And then we're going to get right to brass tacks and make some predictions on the Super Bowl, getting right into the Eastwood segment and the good, the bad, and the ugly, followed by a news segment of unexpected things that have happened so far this season under a new title, The High Heat, where with NFL honors being this week, we've come up with some of our own. Followed by color commentary, where we get to rank a few different things. And then to our stud and dud of the week. Ruckus, this is definitely a very prime week, as you are so hyped up for this three-peat, and I am just looking forward to it either happening or getting ruined.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, what are your food plans for the Super Bowl? Because I was thinking like Cajun for like the theme of New Orleans.
Hadn't gotten that far yet because I have no idea where I am going to be just yet, as I have not formulated where I'm watching this game.
I mean,
I know I'm going to be watching.
I
know that I'm going to be watching this game, but I have not figured out where.
I just think it'd be cool to have Cajun food on Sunday night.
Oh yeah, New Orleans cuisine is. It's definitely spicy, but it's good. Like, it's pretty good. I mean,
I would just get a pound of crawdads. That's what I would consider Cajun.
Dude, your low country. Oh yeah, the crawfish boil. Yeah,
the crawfish boil. Oh yeah, Lord.
I know what you're talking about there. But I would have also said, of course, like there's your jambalaya, your gumbo. There's getting that chicken from Popeyes.
Doesn't count.
I know it doesn't count. I know it doesn't count. Don't judge me.
I feel like that's cheating, but at the same time, I would allow it.
Yeah, but I was just throwing it there as a joke.
Chicken from Popeyes.
Where I was going from there, where I was going from there is that obviously I know that there are going to be some pizza, there are going to be some wings, there are going to be some good food, no matter where I end up. I just haven't figured out fully where yet. But that's just me. Before we get into the sports side of it, we'll take care of some channel housekeeping right up front here. Super Bowl races are coming to a close, as yes, we actually synchronized with the NFL season this year. And Ruckus, your Super Bear run will conclude with
the Indiana Colts versus the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, and was it Richardson or Flacco quarterbacking them in that game?
It was a very close game down to the wire, and some stupidity on my end. You're welcome. It was Anthony Richardson, and he played like a now Josh Allen when it came to like just trucking the ball. Like if there was no one open, he was freaking running for it, and I'm just like, okay, well, this isn't good. It's like everyone, whenever they see Josh Allen about to truck it and the defense isn't ready for it at all. Like, god damn. So, like, yeah, that was the Colts, but when it came to our offense, we did fairly good. There were a couple times where I shot myself in the foot, but you'll have to watch that episode and its cringiness later this week on Thursday, I believe.
Yep. Mine will be on Friday, and mine was against the Ravens. And what's weird about mine, and hear me out on this. I had to face the Eagles in the conference championship game. Kansas City lost to Baltimore in the conference title. So I had 3 out of the 4 teams that actually made it to the championship, which was the weirdest thing for me to see ever. I had to play Dallas in the divisional. So it was like I just had deja vu of games past going up to the Super Bowl. And Baltimore was no exception. So ultimately, on Friday, you're going to figure out which team this year is the kings of the Beltway. As I had a Beltway Bowl.
Yep. But yeah, I think this is probably going to be one of the better Super Bowl run races that we've done. Last year was fun because it was our first time doing something outside of just the podcast, and I think it was probably one of the more fun things that we do is doing like a seasonal thing where we just like go ahead.
Oh, and we have really enjoyed trying to come up with interesting schemes for you as a fan of the pod, like coming up with different schemes that are kind of outside the box. And it was like the first year we took a playoff matchup of 2 teams that butted heads with each other, and ultimately we both made it to the Super Bowl and won with those particular teams.
Hold on, hold
The
on,
next
hold
year,
on. You're telling me the Jaguars and the Chargers they were button heads? It was more like a game of chicken. Like, do you want the ball? No, we'll give you the ball now. No, we'll give you the ball. Do you want to win the game? Do you really want to win the game? Because we don't really want to face the Chiefs or whoever else. So you get to win the game.
not the point I was trying to make. It was they faced each other in a wild card matchup. And then this past year we had a strong quarterback class, and Ruckus took pick number 1, I took pick number 2, and we went from there. And we will be unveiling what we are thinking of for year 3 of this Super Bowl runs. Here over the next few months, we got to wait for free agency and the draft and kind of other off-season moves to take shape before we really make a decision. But there are some ideas.
Yeah.
Following next week's episode, which will be the recap of the Super Bowl. Recap of the Super Bowl and other notable happenings. We will have a 2-week break. So pretty much we will take a break through the entire back half of February. We will return March 3rd, where we will begin MLB previews at that point. And we will be starting with the Central divisions. So we will be taking the 2 weeks to prep the Central divisions, and we will do the Central. We'll do the Central first, then we will go West and close out with the East. So the East will be done on St. Patrick's Day, Then we will take a week off. We will probably go over college basketball a little bit more at the end of the month. Although we'll have some Selection Sunday related material on the 17th as well, because that'll be right around the time of the tournament. And with the 31st, we'll get into the opening parts of baseball and also have some sort of celebration. You won't know when we're dropping it, but we will have some sort of celebration for 3 years on this for this pod.
It doesn't feel like 3 years. It feels more like 3 days.
For how much we've been chugging along with content, and I'm hoping, Lord willing, that we get more opportunity at it. MLB The Show could be a thing. Although we do have some bad news on that we
Yeah.
will mention later. However, we will get right into brass tacks of the pick'ems as we head into the film room. Unfortunately, I was not able to come up with enough points for Ruckus to fully catch up. Just due to lack of thinking of time, we didn't really do the fantasy playoff challenge like we did last year. But we had a whole lot of points on the table, and there were just a lot of missed opportunities.
Yep.
So I am currently up by 22, heading into the final stretch, and I just crossed 300. And I crossed 300, so that was a major milestone point wise. However, for the Super Bowl, we're going to start with the prop of anytime touchdown score. We get to pick 2. You get a point for each. So if you get 1, you get 1 point. If you get 2, you get 2 points. But if you get both, you get 2 more. If none of them happen, you lose 2 points.
All right, easy.
So, who are the 2 players that you have put down?
Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce.
No.
It
Just as a disclaimer for quarterbacks,
has to be a running touchdown.
it has to be a rushing or receiving touchdown.
Which makes sense. I
Patrick
think for the most part,
Mahomes cannot pass for that touchdown.
right. And also, I just feel like in Super Bowls past with Mahomes, for the most part, he's either tried to get to the end zone himself or got there kind of like in Super Bowl 54. And I don't think he went and ran for a touchdown to the red zone in 57 because it was mainly pass game and a little bit of running game and the defensive help. But yeah, 58 wasn't really like that either. It didn't seem. I think 58 was more just playing chicken with the defense of the Niners. But yeah. Anyways, long story short, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce is my pick for this one for anytime touchdown score because I feel like this is gonna be a legendary game.
You went to Chiefs. I went to Eagles. I'm going to say that
Saquon
Saquon
and
Barkley,
Jalen.
yep, and Jalen Hurts, because somehow the Eagles are going to tush push and brotherly shove Jalen Hurts into the back of the end zone.
By the way, shout out to Urinating Tree, the one of the satirical sports video people out there, where his sound effect with the tush push, where it was Patrick and the gang pushing Bikini Bottom somewhere else, and it's like push, push.
All right. And our next prediction will involve the halftime show, which will be done by Kendrick Lamar. And the question is, what songs will be on Kendrick's set list? We had to pick 3, a point for each. If none of them get played, you lose 2. But if you get all 3, +2.
All
Ruckus,
right.
what 3 did you choose?
So I was going to do because didn't you have Mad City for one of yours?
I did not.
Okay.
I
So
do not have that.
I thought it was gonna be Mad City, but then you told me that, or reminded me that in Super Bowl 56 he did
Yeah,
Mad
he
City when
he
he
did a
was with
clip of
Dre and them.
yes, he did a clip of Mad City and he did a clip of All Right with them.
Yep. So ones that he hasn't done, but I feel like I don't know if it could be a long shot. Swimming pools is the if you've ever seen like a meme or a TikTok about drink, like the sound effect for drank in that song. You probably didn't realize it was in this song. But yeah, swimming pools, really good song. I hope that makes it in because that's probably one of the more iconic songs that was in Grand Theft Auto 5 and like a few other things too. Like he's a lyrical and musical genius when it comes to this genre. But staying on topic here, my second song is gonna be "Loyalty" featuring Rihanna, and I believe that was in the Damn album, or it could have been in another one. But that was a good one. I think that would be a perfect one for the Super Bowl. I don't know if Rihanna's gonna actually show up, but we'll see. I mean, she was the halftime show person for 58, wasn't she, or was that 57?
She
Because
she had done one within the last couple of years.
I feel like
No,
it might
because
have been. I think it was 57.
yeah, it was
Because
57
because
because
58 was Usher.
yeah, 58 was Usher, 57 was Rihanna, and then 56 in LA was Dre and was the Dr. Dre show.
Yep. And then, anyways, so loyalty I think would be number 2. Number 3, Money Trees is a pretty good one too. That's also a good oldie. I have a bunch of other ones that we could talk about. We'll talk about those later as my main favorites. So,
Yeah, wow,
but
you went back to Good Kid, Mad City for a couple, and
yes,
then
sir.
Loyalty was your new. I
I feel
went. I didn't go as far back.
I here's the thing. So with Kendrick, it's crazy to say this, but um the amount of like content that he's put over out there for like the past 10 years has been like very creative and just super iconic stuff. Like there's like a lot of artists that come out and they have like a few like they maybe have one or two good albums and then after a while you just kind of like shoo away from it. With Kendrick Lamar, it's a different beast. Like, if you thought like beats with Kanye were good back before, like in 2009 and whatnot, when he had Heartless and Gold Digger
Oh, with
and some other stuff, like his beats and like his tempo and stuff were like a different beast. But with Kendrick Lamar, it gets darker and less chill, I guess you would say, like less of like a cool vibe, like jazzy kind of thing. Whereas Kendrick Lamar is just like kind of like just super dark and uh edgy with his rap. It seems.
all right, so my 3, I definitely have Humble on that list. Probably one of his most notable ones from his 2017 album. I also have DNA from his 2017 album as well as a possibility. Um, but I also went the Black Panther route and also saying that SZA will be there to do All the Stars.
That's also a good one. But my to end my point though that I didn't really get to with Kendrick Lamar, I think he is one of those like artists where if you know his stuff, like he has a bunch of stuff that you could recognize and whatnot. Whereas someone older, it could be different. Like Prince or whatnot. Like for old heads, they might be like, "Who's Kendrick Lamar?" But for our generation, that was some iconic shit. Anyways, let's keep going.
All right, and last but not least is our prediction for the game. And I know exactly where you're going,
And I
and I
know
am
exactly
sure
where you're
where
going too,
you're
you freaking traitor.
going. Traitor?
Yeah,
Traitor? Why would you be saying that I'd be a traitor at this point? Because this is the
because
same. This is the exact same thing we did 2 years ago.
did you have the Eagles last year? Or not the last year, a couple years ago?
Yes, I did. This is the exact same thing.
You're gonna be eating those words, buddy. I'm not sure if we're gonna get to a 3P, but if we do, you're gonna be eating those words. That next episode is gonna be some rough stuff from you. You're gonna hear it, and you're gonna hear it freaking loud, my guy. You are going to hear it from Kansas City. How
Go
loud we will.
birds. Go birds.
Come on, Kansas City, let's get that 3P, baby! Dude, if we get that, I will probably cry tears of happiness, but we will see.
I will appreciate the greatness that comes along with it. But yes, I do have my suspicions that this is highly questionable, like Dan Lebitard's show. On that note, we now can roll the tumbleweed and get into the good, the bad, and the ugly.
All right, Spennis, what do you got for the good?
All right. And the good for this time around is that I've found myself being very surprising of the enjoyment of the look of the new format of European soccer's UEFA Champions League. So, they expanded the field from 32 to 36 participants. The 36 clubs will participate in a league phase. So what this will do is that upon the Champions League allocations, they they played 8 games, and at that point 12 of them get knocked out. However, out of those 24, 8 of those teams will automatically go to the round of 16. And then a 2-leg knockout phase will lower the field to 16. And I think that this is a very unique challenge format. Like very unique Champions League format in that you start with 36 teams, you purge a third of them. 8 of them, the top 8 go straight to 16. So they don't have to worry about playing, because it was 32 teams and then you went to 16 and you went to the amount that you did at 16 at that point. I love that the top 8 automatically go straight to 16. I love it. Just simply you get the right amount of points, you beat your opponent with enough urgency. Yeah, go ahead and take off. Go ahead and take off for a little bit. You fought to earn your spot survive and advance further, go ahead. And the good in this is that there is one notable pairing in this in the UCL that makes this very, very spicy. And yes, I said it. Spicy. And the spice will come in the form of beginning on a two-legger Tuesday, February 11th, as Manchester City will take on Real Madrid in the in the knockout phase. So it added a lot of spice to the format. And you know what? That tournament needed spiced up. I'm here for it. Moving on to the not so good this week. And I had to break this bad news to Ruckus, and I was quite bummed myself.
Yeah, so I'll take over this one. So MLB The Show 25 is usually the reason I get Game Pass is because not everyone can afford to pay full price for every game that they want to get that's new. It's not every new game that will show on Game Pass. And speaking of not games that won't show, MLB The Show 25 will not be a part of the Game Pass service, so you can't spend $20 a month to access hundreds of thousands of titles on one service. I think it's stupid that they didn't do it this time around, but I guess maybe the deal they were struck, they wanted to see if they could like roll the dice and perhaps try to get more sales just by raw sales of the game from the stores. Because I don't know if like the percentage for the stores cut with the developers cut is better, or if it's worse to have a random portion of, or get a random contract for Game Pass that could be getting, in a sense, lowballed. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is I think they're probably experimenting, but I'm pissed that MLB The Show 25 is not on Game Pass, because that means I had to spend $70 on a game that I might play for 2 months.
However, I love what covers this up to make this a whole lot better. The trio cover will have Paul Skeens, Gunnar Henderson, and Ellie De La Cruz. But if you notice something on the Paul Skeens side, that there is a LSU logo on the cover. And MLB The Show is going to make your way through high school and college baseball in some sort of capacity. So even though this game is not going to be on the console subscription services, there's enough here that makes up for it that I might be more on board with ponying up for the purchase. I was ponying up for the purchase to get the collector hats already. But now for this year, okay, now there's something that, okay, I may have to spend a little bit of money to get this game, but I'm all for it. It may not have me get the premium edition with the hat, but I'm all for getting this game in the capacity of that this is going to be a good thing that may actually increase my depth in playing it. I'm wanting to see what MLB The Show decides to bring to the table.
I think I'm just starting now to get getting used to like subscription services, where you don't have to pay as much for a game if you could just get the service and then play it on that service. There are downsides
No,
to that
oh
as
no, I
far
totally
as,
get it.
but also it's kind of funny that I'm like pissed about having to pay full price for MLB The Show, which is one of the games I like to play, but I just felt burnt after the last season and the season before
Oh yeah,
that.
after all those years, yeah, I think that is
That's kind of
that
what I
is
was
the
like.
thing that I think puts the sour taste in. It's a sour taste in your mouth, in that the last two have been so, because we enjoyed DD, we enjoyed Diamond Dynasty, and what MLB The Show, and MLB has taken sets and seasons out, from what I've heard. That sets and seasons will not be in MLB The Show 25. I've heard that. I've heard that in the rumor mill. I am excited for that. But I'm more so looking forward to what this new edition brings to the tape. What these new things bring to the table, because it look it looks like a sweet concept for Road to the Show, which what's the one thing I know we've needed on on this channel? Extra content that we could throw in.
Yep.
I'm all for making it if we can.
Yeah. Ironically, I pay full price every year for the new Madden because we're doing it. My incentive for that is because we're doing it for content for the podcast. But
Yep.
I'm also just kind of like, well, I could have just bought EA Pro and done the same
Oh
thing.
yeah, that's what I've done. And I've done EA Play Pro. I did EA Play Pro this year for it. Because I was doing it on my PlayStation previously, okay, I paid full price. But now that I saw it on EA Play Pro, I'm like, okay, I can actually do this and not have to worry about it. So MLB The Show is one that, yeah, I've been paying full price for content. I paid full price for college, but if college comes to PC, I won't pay full price for it and will get it. I will still only be paying full price for MLB The Show. So I can live with it,
Yeah.
because I was already paying upcharge for editions that was giving me physical contents that I was a collector of. But
You
I'll
know
let you
what
go
else?
right.
But you know who's definitely a collector, allegedly, of things. Justin Tucker. He was supposedly, allegedly, again, gotta put that out there. Pulling a little Pat McAfee there. Allegedly, he was accused of misconduct in massage parlors, a la Deshaun Watson. And Tucker, of course, has denied the allegations. Um, their reports are more graphic that I'm not going to speak of on this pod, but it definitely makes you or reminds you of Deshaun Watson, and I believe Deshaun had like 20-ish plus people speak out saying that he was a piece of shit. So
Well, and all of these allegations occurred in the first 5 seasons of Tucker's career, which was from 2012 to 2016, which also included a Super Bowl victory for Justin Tucker during that time frame. However, what that does entail is that
so
he still is subject to the personal conduct policy.
can I
And
add something to this? I just
oh,
saw
go for it.
so apparently there's 3 additional massage therapists that have accused him of misconduct. Um, the Baltimore Banner reported Saturday. In total, 9 massage therapists in Baltimore area have accused Tucker of inappropriate behavior, and all incidents reported occurred from 2012 to 2016, like Spenis said. which were Tucker's first 5 seasons in the NFL, which also Spanish just said.
Yeah. And it is definitely a shock, and it's a shock because this was something that Ruckus mentioned to me in a DM Discord saying this was not in. Oh, now I'm trying to find what you said here.
I literally just said, Justin Tucker. God damn it.
Oh, you
Oh,
didn't have Justin Tucker having that on my 2025 bingo card. But
oh yeah, I said I didn't have Justin Tucker getting tucked by 6 different masseuses on my 2025 bingo card. You looked that
however,
up.
this yes, I looked that back through, and we have now come up with a new segment for the bizarre things in sports that we will have the segment of this wasn't on my 2025 bingo card. And Justin Tucker was the very first thing that we put on the card
Yep.
marking January. A couple of other things involving January were Ichiro not being a unanimous Hall of Fame selection, as he missed it by 1 vote. And then I also put the Commanders stunning the Lions and making it to the NFC Championship game. Because, again, we both thought that the Lions were going to have it, and I was not expecting it. I was hyped, but I was not expecting it. So, and I was like, this is not on my bingo card to have the Commanders go from worst in the division, have an owner change, go through all this, and make it all the way to 1 game shy of the Super Bowl. But there were some things just as the calendar turned over from January to February. And the first one that I am throwing on the bingo card was a major trade. A day before the De'Aaron Fox deal, the Dallas Mavericks have traded away Luka Doncic. And he is being sent to the Lakers to play with LeBron James. And Anthony Davis has been traded to the Dallas Mavericks. And pretty much everyone was in shock. And I even think that the reactions had someone also put that this was not on their bingo card.
Yeah, it was insane. And I think for the Mavericks, so it was Celtics Mavericks, correct? For
It,
last
it,
year's finals.
yeah, I think that was what it was.
That tells you how much I don't really pay attention. But I paid attention enough to see that Luca and the Mavericks, their defense was very bit much of a struggle bus at times,
And that
and
Luka
it
is
makes
not a
sense
great
why they didn't
defender.
do that. Yeah.
That
So
Luka's not a great defender, and they ultimately. And Charles Barkley has said that he doesn't think that Luka and LeBron can play together. And then, but then everyone's all on the bunch of that Luka has raised the odds of the Lakers making it. But yet, Barkley even says that Dallas is the second best team in the West after this deal. And of course, all the Mavericks GM has said is that he cited culture as the trade of saying talking defense wins championships. But here was the other funny thing about this is that it also has put the no player is safe as far as a deal. And that Stephen A was even saying that the Lakers were talking future, and that was why they did it.
Which makes sense because LeBron isn't always going to be playing in the NBA, and they need someone else that they can pass the baton to. I saw it as a
Yeah.
good trade, even though the Mavericks could have gotten like Austin Reeves or someone like that. But at the same time, I feel like the Mavericks
Oh,
are trying to rebuild or not even rebuild, just I think they're trying to do an experiment with something, and so they probably were both like, okay, well, we'll give up Doncic for AD, and then um, whoever the GM over at Laker Town, the Lake Show, would probably just be like, all right, bet, sweet, sounds good.
oh yeah, and there's been some gambling rings that have kind of also come about, which MLB
We
firing an umpire over one of them. I just saw that. And then a gambling ring is also tied into college hoops. So I'm like, okay. I'm
Speaking
like,
of
but the
that,
problem is that these sports betting things and umpires getting fired on it, that one actually was on my bingo card. I kind of figured that something was going to come about. Just
so
watch. All of a sudden,
speak,
something's going to come about with an NFL ref.
so speaking of that kind of shit with the gambling, um, when they were so I was watching I think it was the Get Up or something,
Yeah, get up with
and
a greenie. Yep.
they were talking about the trade that happened between Luca and AD, and while they were, because normally when you had news like this break out, it was like some Sports Center thing, and then they would talk all about the accolades and how great this player is and how that benefits them. The first or the first couple of conversations were talking about how the betting people had this percentage or that percentage or whatever, and I'm like, really? Why are we talking about this? We should be talking about the real shit and not just um betting odds or the percentages of that shit. I think it's gotten out of hand. I think we need to set more harsher regulations on just advertising it and also making it play a part in TV.
Oh,
Straight up.
was Miles Garrett also requesting a trade on your bingo card?
Honestly, I wouldn't be so. I it was probably on
You
my
could
bingo
also say
card.
you also could have said, yeah, if it was like a major superstar asks for a trade, demands a trade. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's what
one
I
wasn't on the
meant.
bingo
Yeah, I
card.
was like, it depends, because like I couldn't see it happening, but I didn't want to be like, yeah, but the way you just put it, icing on the cake, cherry on top.
Yep. Great. All right. But now we can move on to the high heat from the segment of this wasn't on our bingo card. And our high heat this week is our NFL honors. The major NFL honors was this week, and the awards will be handed out as early as 9 p.m. Thursday night. But we have some of our own, and we're gonna start with some of the more our own, and then kind of go to some of the ones that we know are going to be given out on Thursday night. And we are going to start with the breakout player of the year. And our winner is
Zach Bond.
Zach
Uh,
Bond, linebacker of the Philadelphia Eagles. Bond was brought over to Philadelphia during an offseason move from the New Orleans Saints, and he has become a premier player and even was set with a Defensive Player of the Year finalist nomination. So he's kind of broken out and become a really good player in Vic Fangio's system. The most improved player. And our winner here is
Sam Darnold.
From the Minnesota Vikings. Of course, not much else really we could kind of say with this, that Sam Darnold had himself a heck of a season, and I think he is going to get paid. But will it be Minnesota that can kind of hang on to him for somewhat reasonable, or is it going to be a team from the outside getting overpaying? We will find out here within the next month or so. Our next notable one is the Fantasy Football MVP. And our winner for this award is Jahmyr Gibbs, running back of the Detroit Lions.
Yep, I had him in a few of my leagues. He was pretty good.
I did not own Gibbs. I owned Montgomery, his team is his running back partner. But I actually, in the league, in my leagues that I did win, I had Derrick Henry and I had Bijan Robinson.
I should have picked Saquon if I would have known that he would have had a 2,000-yard season this season.
Oh, I actually was happier that I got Bijan, especially in that especially in the 12-teamer PPR. It was not quite as much, but there was a week where Saquon had a major drop off. But then on the other hand, it was just more consistent work from what Bijan had. That okay, I was getting maybe about 15 to 20.
Mustard.
50, yeah, from 15 to about 15 to 20 a game for a huge stretch of the season. So I was getting more. Yeah, it's like while Saquon Barkley was putting up in the 30s and 40s and being more like the rabbit and took his major nap, I'm sitting here winning the turtle. I'm sitting here winning the turtle race with Bijan. I basically won a turtle race. That was all it was. But our fantasy football bust of the year, and I'm going to say the person who probably, even with his effort against the Commanders, seemingly digging him out of tight end Catraz, it's Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was pretty much never selected in any of the fantasy leagues I had. Like, he was just, like, sitting there chilling, like, waiting for someone to pick him on the team, but no one would.
There was so much hope for... He gets picked out of just sheer hope of Kirk Cousins out of the sheer hope that Kirk Cousins was able to do something. And Kirk Cousins was not able to do anything. The Bonehead Player of the Year. And I'll let you go ahead and take it away.
Alright. Bonehead Player. Let's define a Bonehead Player. That player is Tua Tagovailoa, because when you've had major concussions for, like, the past couple of seasons, and they resulted in mostly you kind of just pulling a Ralph from The Simpsons and just just ejecting yourself out of a vehicle or whatever, and then you just go head first into a defender that's gonna attack you no matter what happens. Wouldn't you have learned from that after the last couple times you did that shit, and then not learn from it again whenever you came back from the concussion protocol? You're just like, bam, you're like the Goofy meme where he's like, I'll frickin' do it again. Like, he doesn't say frickin' though, but still, gotta tone down the cussing a little bit.
You gotta slide into them DMs.
Tua is just an accident waiting to happen.
Yep.
He is probably raising the insurance rates more than what he is getting paid by the Dolphins.
And the off-season move of the year goes
Saquon to
to
Philly.
Saquon to Philly. Yep, that move has completely transformed the entire dynamic of the Philadelphia offense. We can kind of talk about more of that later. The OMG moment is the Saquon Barkley spin hurdle where he jumped over a Jaguars player going backwards. Never will be duplicated again. Lord willing.
Yeah.
I don't even know if Saquon could do that again, even if he tried. The front office of the year, I again am going to say, out of pure respect, although I would have said the Commanders, it is the Philadelphia Eagles. Because how do you end up with 4 major offseason moves that you have, and actually even including Saquon Barkley in that, and you have all 5 of those moves hit? You had 5 offseason moves. One we'll definitely be addressing more later. One we know we're addressing later. Drafting 2 defensive backs and picking up Zach Bond, who we've already discussed, and having all 5 just hit, and you hit the mother load on all 5 of them. Simple as that. The play of the year, as much as I would have loved to have given this to the Hail Mary, we decided on the double reverse flea flicker to Sam Laporta against the Cowboys. I
Yep.
almost wanted to put the hook and ladder to Panay Sewell in there too. The Lions were just some of the most creative plays in the playbook from Ben Johnson. I'm wondering how much of that is really going to end up being on the Bears, but I don't see very much of that happening. The breakout team of the year,
Commanders.
left hand up, it is the Commanders. The bonehead coach of the year, and yes, this is just complete lack of IQ, making boneheaded decisions, dumb decisions.
My head coach
And,
for the Super Bear race.
and the
Guilty as
one that
charged.
ultimately got fired mid-season because of his stupidity in decision making. Matt Eberflus of the Chicago Bears. And now our next section of awards is going to go to the and we will be recognizing broadcast crews throughout the league or throughout the major networks that cover the NFL. The first award is going to go, or at least we will be mentioning, the NFL Studio Analyst of the Year. And we have a tie. Because I definitely came up with one, and Ruckus definitely came up with one that we absolutely loved on both fronts. And the winners are Jason Kelsey with ESPN and Gronk as part of the Fox crew. Jason Kelsey, need we say more? They Call It Late Night was an absolute success.
Yes.
And then Gronk actually surprises people because you would think, oh, big Gronk, all I know is having to have Tom Brady yell at me to stand up in the middle and pre-play free play. I'm just a tight end who runs and catches balls, spikes them, and then becomes a party animal after the season is done. No, Gronk is Gronk actually, when you hear him speak and talk about football on the NFL on Fox, it's it actually is very impressive as to how much he knows. Like, I am impressed by it. And our NFL Studios show is going to go to Fox. Fox NFL Sunday. Although the NFL Today would have very well also have gotten this honor as well. All right, and the Rules Analyst of the Year, Ruckus, take it away.
The Rules Analyst of the Year is Mike Pereira of Fox.
Mike Pereira, yep, from Fox, yep. Sideline Report of the Year, and our winner is
Sideline Reporter of the Year is Tracy Wilson of CBS.
Color Analyst of the Year,
Jason McCourty of CBS.
and our play-by-play announcer, one that we both absolutely have enjoyed, and I'm sure you've heard us say it before. It's Kevin Harlan from
I'm calling
CBS.
both games.
LeBron James with no regard for human life. All right, and now we will move on to the ones that we definitely expect to have announced on Thursday. The Comeback Player of the Year. And we actually have nominees from NFL Honors that we can legitimately use.
I believe Saquon is the MVP, right? I thought I saw something online that said that he was the NFL MVP.
Looking for the nominees. Because
On NFL's Instagram, NFL on Fox's Instagram.
I think Fox has just had like special awards. These are all done by the AP.
Oh, oops.
Yep, those are all done by the AP. So this is a little different. The Comeback Player of the Year are 5 finalists that we had to potentially choose from. Although, what was funny is that the player that we chose wasn't even a part of this. So actually, no, he is. No, he is. It's Joe Burrow, Sam Darnold, J.K. Dobbins, Christian Gonzalez, and Damar Hamlin. And our winner is,
For the
or at
Defensive
least
Player of the Year, or
no, Comeback Player of the Year.
okay. That is Sam Darnold. As the man deserves it. He has had a rough road. Was drafted by the Jets. Did not do well with the Jets. They essentially annexed him, and then he went to, I believe it was the 49ers after the fact.
He's had Carolina. I think he's
Oh,
had
yeah,
stints in
Carolina.
and he had Carolina and San Francisco. He was a backup. I think he was like a backup quarterback
backup.
in San Francisco. Yeah, he was a backup in both places.
And to shine bright like a diamond over in Minnesota, I'm happy for the dude. And he could have a standing ground with the Vikings if things go correctly or his way, I guess. But
And
anyways,
there have been a lot of arguments about this. And the major argument in this is saying that Sam Darnold, just because he fell to irrelevance, that coming back out of the ashes is not truly a comeback. most of the time people will say comeback player of the year, you're thinking coming back from an injury. Geno Smith was another example of this. Joe Flacco said that he should not have won it, and DeMar Hamlin, the year that he got it, should have. So it's like coming back from something major. But comeback player of the year can be interpreted so many different ways.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that this time around, in our eyes and in previous years' eyes, that this is how it is to be interpreted. The next one we have is the assistant coach of the year. And our nominees: Joe Brady, the Bills offensive coordinator; Vic Fangio, the Philadelphia Eagles defensive coordinator; Brian Flores, the Minnesota Vikings defensive coordinator; Aaron Glenn, the Lions defensive coordinator, and now Jets head coach; and Ben Johnson, the Lions offensive coordinator, and currently just recently was hired to be the Bears head coach. The winner of this award, in our eyes, is Vic Fangio of the Philadelphia Eagles. The next one we have will be Coach of the Year. And our nominees for this are
Can we just
Motor
get to
City Dan
the
Campbell.
Can we just get to the part where we talk about the results for it?
Oh, well, I was going to say, of course, our finalists. Yeah. All right, our winner being our co-winners, because I can't let this one, I can't let it go that without noticing. You have Andy Reid and Dan Quinn, because I think DQ deserves it.
I think
I
from where you're coming from, yes, because you have a rookie quarterback that no one really knew was going to get this far as almost going to a Super Bowl, um, being a factor.
turning a whole entire team around.
Yes, because the team before that was coached. Well, it was coached by a mummified Ron Rivera, and then was fired. And then they were like, "Okay, well, we'll try to figure this shit out, but it ain't gonna be pretty." And it definitely wasn't. And then they got Dan Quinn, and it seems like that culture and his mindset has really helped the Commanders, and he got a second chance at being a great coach, and I can see why you want him to be coach of the year. I see the Andy Reid thing and think, okay, so the year that you tried to three-peat, you had a lot of people go down. You had to patch up that band-aid with some talent that has surged, like Kareem Hunt, DeAndre Hopkins, and then you had the chance to also be a little bit more conservative on the scoring, even if Patrick Mahomes didn't have one of the greater seasons this season because of his lack of getting the ball out and just doing something with it. Like there were times where he threw some deep ones, like one to Worthy against the Chargers. There were times where the offense didn't click and it was all defense, and somehow we managed to not all get a heart attack during a game. And all the way through these Super Bowl runs, 57, 58, and now 59, he has been consistent, and I haven't seen another coach do that in a while. I mean, we could say Bill Belichick, but come on. The guy got kind of snubbed last year, too. I think this year he deserves it.
Here is my argument against Andy Reid. There are too many good cases in the NFC. And the list here honestly shows this. Dan Campbell, who has consistently been there, especially over the last couple of years. Kevin O'Connell leading the Vikings out of nowhere. Dan Quinn leading the Commanders out of nowhere. Sean Payton is another one in the AFC that definitely put the Broncos really ahead of schedule, and the Broncos are good. Again. But I think that Dan Quinn has earned it from building the ground up. I think that, dare I say it, I think that the Chiefs have had a lot of outside factors help.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to involve the refs. It's mostly just like some random luck too. Like the
Yeah.
Broncos the blocked field goal to try to win, where we just blocked it out of nowhere. The Isaiah Likely big toe play where he was out of bounds,
Oh,
where it could have
the missed it
been.
by a toe. The missed it
Yeah,
by a toe. The
the doink for the division. Just other random shit that you would have thought, well, I think the
yeah,
Chiefs
but
might not win this
I
game, and
think
then
that
it's like, oh shit, they won.
but I
Anyway, so
think but I think we're also dealing, and notice that the Chiefs were also not in candidacy for a lot of awards this year. And that I
too
think has
good.
also come with a lot of Chief fatigue. And also players not performing as well as they normally would on a Chiefs team. For a Chiefs team to have as much, it's like as if they have the strong record, but at the same time the strong record comes with so many question marks in certain areas that just make it not look as pretty. And I'm not even saying that the Commanders won very many games pretty. We had to get a little lucky. We had to be battle tested. But that came also in the form of other players that we will talk about later. And our
Anyways,
defensive rookie of the year,
we have Jared Verse.
we have Jared Verse, who even in the game where he was riling up the Eagles fans, he stepped up and did his thing. Jared Verse, as an edge, did a great job as a rookie. And it showed. And our offensive rookie of the year, I think we both, again, went in two different directions with this one. And our two winners are Jaden Daniels and Brock Bowers. My case for Jaden Daniels was he was that dude. And he showed it time and time again that he was that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he played like it. And Brock Bowers being the one bright spot in the Raiders offense, a player that, yes, I stole in a fantasy football draft and traded him away. Because I truly had the number 1 and number 2 tight end right from the jump. Traded away the one, kept Kittle, and had Cerro Miedo about it. But Brock Bowers definitely is deserving of being in the Offensive Rookie of the Year conversation. The Defensive Player of the Year.
Patrick Surtain the second.
Yep.
Or Surtain. What?
Yeah, Patrick Surtain the second. Yes, I have said it right from the jump of the very season. If you are playing against the Denver Broncos, especially in a fantasy football type of situation, if your receiver is guarded up against Patrick Surtain, you are not having a good day. you're gonna have about as good of a day as sitting in a long line at a DMV and dealing with a sloth behind the counter once you get there. Shout
Was
out
that a
Zootopia.
Geico? Wasn't that a Geico commercial? I think it was.
No, that was reference to a Zootopia.
Oh, inside. Oh yeah, Zootopia.
No, it was Zootopia, the Disney movie.
I'm thinking of Inside Out for whatever reason because it's just more recent in my head because they had a second one come out like a
Yeah,
year ago.
yeah,
But yeah,
but
anyways.
that's talking about emotions. That's a little different. But
I'm a little
our
angry. Anyways,
our offensive player of the year, even though we had a 2,000-yard rusher this season, and Joe Burrow was an incredible passer, we are giving it to Jamar Chase for the wide receiver triple crown. As Jamar
yeah.
Chase was not, that's because he was also not in the MVP conversation. But I think that Jamar Chase, yeah, I know you're not a fan of Jamar Chase, even though he talked about losing to the Elves.
Yeah, that was funny. I like that.
But I think you were more so not a fan of Jamar Chase because he's trying to be greedy for money. He
It's
has
not the
played.
greed. It's not the greed. It's the talent that comes with it. It's not necessarily, dude. If he gets a bag somewhere like if it's not the Bengals and it turns out that he gets it like with the Patriots or another team that's willing to shell out the money and pay for his talents, sure, good. I just hope that if he does sign big with someone, that he puts his money where his mouth is.
Oh yeah, he played this season like as if he was coming for a bag. Now it's just a
Just like
matter of
the years before that, it was kind of not as good as his first year. But I've seen more of it of his game, and he is definitely he still has it. I just didn't
yeah.
see
It
it as
comes
much.
with and that also comes with a healthy Joe Burrow too.
Yeah.
Realize that also becomes heavily dependent on a healthy Joe Burrow. And our MVP, we went none other than Saquon Barkley.
His legs
As
held
much
up.
as I would have loved to have given it to Jared Goff or a Lamar Jackson being his third, I think that Saquon Barkley and how he has been the major dictator of what Philly's offense was and the statement that he brought being that type of person showed that he clearly was the MVP is the MVP of bar none. And now we will move on to the color commentary,
Yeah.
where our commentary this week is Rankum. And we will start as Kendrick Lamar prepares for his halftime show. We will be doing Kendrick songs, and it is a top 5.
All right, let's
And
name them
Ruckus,
off really quick and give brief descriptions on why
yep,
we like them. So, Kendrick Lamar songs I mentioned it earlier. Swimming Pools is a really iconic song for Kendrick's career, but also it was featured in Grand Theft Auto 5, and I just thought it was a good ass song. ADHD is a good one too. It like gives you like the true feel of what a Kendrick Lamar song is. Like there's different beats or different things that he does, but like it gives you a true feel of his thought process. And then number 3, Money Trees. I said it before, very iconic. Number 4 was King's Dead, and this was during the era, or there's this during the time when Black Panther was very popular in the cinema, and he did some music with that film. And
yep.
one of the songs, King's Dead, there's an iconic ending to that song where he's talking about street lights and stuff like that, like red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light, and it's just like this cool transition. And if you listen to the song, it just feels dark, like a lot of his other music goes, like the paths to like tell you about his story of life. And then finally, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice by Kendrick Lamar, and this is him again showing the darker side of his life, where he's talking about, or he's pointing out and talking about the elephant in the room, which is stereotypes of African Americans, and just advocating. And then my honorable mention, High Power, which is a poetic justice thing that he talks about for him and where he stood. But anyways, what are your Kendrick Lamar songs? Top 5.
Yep. All right, I shared a couple. 5 being King's Dead. 4 I did Swimming Pools. Number 3 I put
That was also
from
a
To
good
Pimp a
one too.
Butterfly. Yep. Number 2 I put Mad City. And 1 I put Humble. As in just Kendrick's flow throughout that. There's a lot of Kendrick songs that I very well could have put in that conversation. And that whole To Pimp a Butterfly was definitely the one album of Kendrick's I know that I owned at one point. So that was something.
Dude,
The
I
next
just
one,
remember how insane the Damn album was whenever I was in college. Like, when that came out, like, everyone was bopping to that. And then the year after that, it was To Pimp a Butterfly, and it was wild.
To Pimp a To Pimp a Butterfly was before that album.
Oops. Well,
Yeah, To
either
Pimp a
way,
Butterfly
I'm
was
enjoying
2015.
Kendrick Lamar.
Yep.
All right.
And the next one is TV sitcoms. And I will go first for this one. For me, number 5, I put Community. Joel McHale, Donald Glover, Troy and Abed in the morning. Number 4, The Good Place. A Kristen Bell one. Kristen Bell one, Jason and the Jacksonville Jaguars. It just for those moments, it's worth a watch. Number 3, How I Met Your Mother. 2, The Big Bang Theory, and for me, number 1, Ted Lasso. And that character development is on point.
All right. So, for my starting 5 sitcoms, I have number 5. And you probably heard me do the special catchphrase where it's "God damn it, Bobby."
Oh, you
King
went
of the
King of the
Hill!
Hill.
Yep, I mainly went with the cartoons, but God, I tell you what, I sell propane and propane accessories. Whoa. Anyways, and number 4, I have a more recent new sitcom that hasn't really gained much popularity yet, but it will eventually. This is Smiling Friends, with Pim and Charlie and the gang, Alan being a coworker. The main premise of the show is that they're trying to make people smile, and it's a very dark, edgy comedy on Adult Swim and Cartoon Network. You guys would probably enjoy it if you like edginess. But number 3, speaking of that, well, you can eat my short, Spennis, because I have The Simpsons.
You took The Simpsons, yep.
And then number 2, I have, and yes, I will admit, Uncle Ruckus is kind of like a persona I have online for the Boondocks, but it is not like that on the show, but I do like being called Ruckus because I mean, it's a character on the show, no shit, Sherlock, but like in general online, I like to be called Ruckus. You could call me Carter if you want, but Ruckus is what I do because it's part of the show. Um, Uncle Ruckus, though, on the Boondocks is what made me fall in love with the show. I mean, yeah, he's kind of racist against his own kind because he's black, but he's talking bad about black people. But anyways, the show is just hilarious. The banter between Granddad Riley and Huey, they it's just awesome. It's a good show. You gotta watch it to understand what I'm talking about. And then number one, I have Robot Chicken. These are all cartoons, but Robot Chicken is one of those shows where it's funny because it's Seth Green. He's voicing most of the characters. It's claymation, and a lot of the characters are like famous toy from like old toy things. So like He-Man, they had like He-Man action figures and stuff like that. GI Joe, people that kind of look like famous characters that they're making fun of. It's like Family Guy but claymation, and it's hilarious. All right, I'll let's go to the next one.
Super Bowl party food.
All right, I will start number 5. I put Uber Eats because that was more of a cop out answer. Number 4, I put barbecue, especially Kansas City barbecue. I would have added Cajun food too, but at the time I was thinking more just out like inside the box, like the basic things that you would have for a Super Bowl, kind of like a Jackbox answer. But anyways, number 3, I put wings because that's probably one of the main things is B-dubs. Number 2, pizza. You always see those commercials with Domino's, Pizza Hut, Papa John's. And then number 1, chips and salsa, because you got the Tostitos chips, tortilla chips, and Doritos with their stuff. You could probably pair that with salsa. I don't know how nasty that would taste compared to just a traditional corn chip, but here we are. All right, Spennis.
All right, number 5 for me. I went with the cheeseburger. As it's hard to go wrong there. Number
Okay,
4,
Andy Reid, calm down.
I went barbecue. I will say, though I truly haven't had Kansas City, I'm more akin to Tennessee barbecue.
Dude, you need to take a trip to Kansas City, and I can take you to some good barbecue joints over here.
Yeah, but I know my big one as far as a state wise for definitely more the sweet style of barbecue is definitely Tennessee. Number 3, chili cheese blank, because if you get the right chili, you put more of the shredded cheese and throw and like dip a chip or something like that. Or if you find the right one and you end up getting it on top of as a topping for something, oh yeah, that works. Chili cheese, like chili and cheese, and probably your main thing of Tostitos is probably the real way you would go. Buffalo chicken dip is also an option.
God damn it, Spanish, you're making me hungry.
Number
Texas
2,
fried chili from Texas Roadhouse is pretty good too.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, but my number 2, I went pizza, and my number 1, I gotta go with those. I gotta go with the Buffalo staple, chicken wings. Video games you would most likely recommend to a friend. My 5 that I picked. Also, I said kind of also would recommend to generations beyond me. Number 5, I went Tecmo Bowl. Number 4, Super Smash Bros. Melee. Number 3, Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow. Number 2, Super Mario 64. And number 1, Uncharted 2.
All right. So I will go with my number 5 pick right now. Video games that would like to recommend to a friend, Grand Theft Auto. It's awesome, and the Definitive Collection was on sale like a couple weeks ago on Steam. I think the older games give you the layout of what's to come in the later games, and it's just a fun series. Like, who doesn't want to feel like they could just randomly kill someone and not have to like pay a price for it? Because it's a video game. You can just shoot someone off the street. You could piss off a cop. You can run over a bunch of people. You could do whatever. It's Grand Theft Auto. It's your world. Number 4, I have Fallout's series, because Fallout, I've been playing more New Vegas recently. Like, I downloaded a mod pack that gives me like 500 mods that, in a sense, remaster the game. Like, if there was like a definitive edition that you could have sold to someone for that, like, that's what New Vegas was with that mod pack. I've been playing that. Fallout 4 I played a while back when I was a senior in high school, but Fallout series is pretty damn good if you haven't tried it. It's awesome. You'll like it. Number 3, I got the Spider-Man series for the Amazing Spider-Man, with also Miles Morales following up that in the PS5 exclusive day one. And then after that, I think it was 2 or 3 years after Miles Morales, they finally put out Spider-Man 2. And I have been playing a little bit through that so far, and my god, it's amazing. And you know what else is amazing? Our honorable mention, the Ratchet and Clank series, which is also made by Insomniac, and
Yep. Same
that is
developer.
that's a freaking classic. And I remember playing that with my dad and having very fond memories. And then number 2, I have Balatro. That game is so much fun to play just in the background, like if you're just like watching TV, but you're also just having something to play in the background like Balatro. It's so much fun. It's also fun to just listen to a podcast in the background and just zone out and play Balatro. It's one of those addicting games, but fun in a sense. And I think for someone that's just basic, or wants a basic game that they can play on their phone or whatever, they can just play Balatro. Number 1, I have Red Dead Redemption. I recently beat Red Dead Redemption, the PC port, and it was a lot of fun. I'm playing a little bit of Undead Nightmare as well, and overall I enjoyed it. And if you like cowboy games where you go pow pow, and kind of like the Good, Bad, and Ugly with the Clint Eastwood segment, there's a lot of cowboy shooting and rooting and tooting, and it's pretty much Grand Theft Auto, but you it's the Wild West. So you got all the cowboy 6-shooters and all that good stuff, and you got horses instead of cars. Sometimes it's annoying because the horses, if you're like trying to go really fast, you can only do it for a certain period of time, but with cars you can do it like all the way. So it's just kind of frustrating there. But anyways, Spennis, what you got for the NFL game commercials? Or is it my
All right.
turn?
Yeah, well, NFL game commercials is the next one there, and I think you can go ahead and get her started.
Alright, so I will start with number 5, the YouTube TV NFL Sunday Ticket commercial, where it showed like a bunch of depictions of what the team's mascots were, or what the names were for them. So like the Lions, they had an actual CGI lion, I believed. For the Buccaneers, they had like a pirate with a parrot on his side, and then there was the Jaguar that would on occasion be pawing at the TV screen whenever the ball was coming through. I think it was like the ball or something that the Jaguar was distracted by. And then whenever everyone was like, "Get out of the way!" he like wagged his tail enough to where it like spilled some like chips or whatever, and everyone just like pissed off. But yeah, that was a good one. Number 4, the Uber Eats Matthew McConaughey commercials, where he is like, "Jerry, what's Jerry eating?" rice.
Rice.
Jerry's eating rice. And then they'll be like, and then it'll be like McCaffrey's like, I don't think that the Uber Eats is trying to sell, and then it's like wings, or stuff like that. I remember like last year when they did a commercial. It was the one where it's like, you want to order beer, but you're hosting a party, and it's like ding, and it's like just some random grizzly bear. Number 3, I have the Hy-Vee player introductions commercial, and this is probably more local to me for the Kansas City Chiefs, because I feel like Hy-Vee is more of like a Midwest chain, because we have a bunch of them in Kansas City and Missouri and Kansas and whatnot, and I feel like they're in Ohio and Iowa and places like that too. But anyways, the player introductions where it's Patrick Mahomes, he's like Patrick Mahomes, quarterback, Kansas City, and then they're like Travis Kelce, tight end, Kansas City, and then they do like the butcher guy from the meat section of the Hy-Vee, and then they're like, Butcher Man, I butcher things, and then they're like, yeah, look at that guy. Very, very funny commercial. And then number 2, I'm sure you've probably seen this commercial, but the Community America commercial where it's Patrick Mahomes at the barber getting his hair done and whatnot, chilling, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Bobby Witt Jr. is also at that same place, and they're saying, member since 2023, and they're all having a good time. There's a funky beat going on in the background, like, good times. I don't know if you saw that one. And then number 1, the one that we've all seen, I'm sure. It's the State Farm commercial with Andy Reid, and he's going, Bundarooski! Bundarooski, Bundarooski, Rooski Doo! And then Patrick's like, well, I'm not going to say it, but if you can say it if you really want to. And then my honorable mention is the Peyton Manning commercials. Like, I'm not just Peyton Manning, but I'm Peyton Manning. You're doing really good, Peyton. Peyton or Peyton? Peyton. And then the Debate Manning. Where he goes, well, that's debatable. And then she says, and then I think the younger chick says, no, it's not. And he's like, actually, that is debatable. And then they all clap, and then that's the commercial. So,
yeah.
Spennis, here you go. Go for it.
All right. The number 5 one that I have here is the Fitzmagic DraftKings commercial, where they're like, nah, there's too much magic. Nah, too much magic. That one was probably one of the more fun ones that I had seen in the bunch of sports betting ones. And it was Kevin Hart. So not much you could really kind of throw into that little ideal and have it properly fit. Number 4, I have the actual one of the Super Bowl commercials of Betty White, where you're playing like Betty White out there from Snickers. Number 3, I have the Icky Woods Geico commercial, where he's doing the Icky Shuffle and doing the get some cold cuts. Number 2, the Peyton Manning MasterCard commercials. Not so much the other main ones, but the MasterCard ones are definitely really good.
Weren't those like earlier, or I was
Yes.
thinking of the ESPN commercials where he's like in the hotel and he's like in a robe or whatever, and he's talking about like a play or something with the coach on the phone or something. Or maybe it was like an analyst or something. I think it was an ESPN analyst because I remember seeing those commercials during SportsCenter.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there were a whole bunch of This Is SportsCenter commercials, yeah. And then I also had the McConaughey Uber's Eats commercial but particularly the one with Christian McCaffrey and Jerry Rice. They're like, Jerry's eating rice. I also had that one on there.
Wasn't there something about one where it was like pizza or oh no, it was wings and it was like the Eagles or something?
Yeah.
That was
Something along those lines, yeah. But now we can move on to our stud and dud of the week.
alrighty. Alright, do you want me to go
Yep.
first?
Yep, go for it.
Alright, so my dud, to just get it out of the way. The Philly Mayor's chant for the Eagles instead of EAGLES Eagles. See, I stumbled a little bit because my spelling for the dud is the way that she said it, which was ELGLES Eagles. And everyone freaked out in the best way possible by making fun of this lady. And it's just like, come on. Like, do we need to really make a one of the prerequisites that you had to realize how to spell the word eagle and add an S to it? That's all you gotta do. And the Philly mayor was like, yeah, I'm just gonna commit to the bit instead of just like, okay, one from the top. Actually, it's pronounced EAGLES. And then she's like, oh, well, my apologies. And then she like writes the next day about an apology, and everyone's just like, who cares? Anyways, yep, Eagles chant from the Philly mayor. My stud, I have the finale, if they call it late night, and the Philly fanatic pulls what seemed to be a Kool-Aid man moment without the trigger words, which, if you do it 3 times, kind of like Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Oh, well, shit, now Beetlejuice is in my room. Well, just kidding. I'm fine, everything's fine. But the Philly fanatic pulled what seemed to be a Kool-Aid Man moment where when you say, oh no, oh no, oh no, and then you hear, oh yeah, it through a brick wall. And the Philly fanatic came out of nowhere, and I believe he tried to sneak up on Jason, but he ended up smooching Kylie, which I thought was really fine. Which I thought was really funny, and it was like one of those iconic Disney moments.
Oh yeah, and I know that Jason would have had no complaint with the Philly fanatic. Because of course he's Philly. He's become the personification of Philly. but the Philly fanatic is a silent mascot. So that's the beauty of that.
I like the mascots with like big bellies because then they'll like do their little like dance where their like bellies jiggling, and it's really funny to watch.
All right. Well, my dud goes to the NFL officiating and discipline for lack of consistency involving fines and flags between A.J. Brown and Marshawn Lattimore following the Commanders-Eagles game. They went and did not flag A.J. Brown, but Brown should have been flagged. But they fined him. But then instead they flagged Marshawn Lattimore for the penalty on the play. But Marshawn Lattimore came away with no fine. If you're going to fine them both, fine them both for fighting. If you're going to penalize, they penalized the wrong guy because AJ Brown ripped Marshawn Lattimore's helmet off. Lattimore didn't even have anything on the helmet. So there's just a lack of consistency with fines and flags. But my stud goes to Jared Goff and Joe Burrow for showing out during the passing the test skill game at the Pro Bowl games. Did you watch any of Burrow's throws?
Yes, they were pretty money.
No, but Burrow. I think the funny thing that a lot of people were saying in the comment section about it was that Burrow looked bored. Like as if he didn't really have to do much to get the ball out there. Like, no, this is what you want out of a quarterback because you want that throw to feel effortless. Yeah, also, it feels effortless.
Wasn't this like his first time doing the throwing? Because like the first year, well, actually, it was his first year he tore his ACL. second year, they went to the Super Bowl, and then the
Yeah.
third year, he like
He had an
fractured
injury.
his
There was
hand or
another,
whatever.
there was some. Yeah, there were a couple of injuries. Yeah, so Burrow.
So this was probably the first one then. So
It was
good
like the
for
first one that
him.
I think that truly competitive wise getting to see him throw. Yeah,
I want to see. I would have liked to see Josh Allen in that.
I would have loved to have seen had Jaden not backed out. I wanted to see Jaden do it, but I think now's not the time. Now is not the time. I think it was good for Jaden to take time off.
I think that would have been cool to watch though as a viewer thing.
Oh
But
yeah.
but yeah, like I saw that. I also saw the punt off, which was on the day that they had
Oh
the Pro Bowl games. I saw the
oh,
dodgeball. I
Marlon,
saw
the
the
non-punters, Marlon
use
Humphrey
check.
and Juszczyk. Oh my goodness! Like how they could punt. That was That was impressive. And then of course you had Dexter Lawrence and Vita Vea in a tug of war, and they fell on top of each other.
Yeah.
Oh my! But I think the Pro Bowl games, as good as they may end up being, I think they're dying off too. Is the problem?
I think I think you have the normal Pro Bowl without the flag football bullshit. You give them Guardian helmets so that you give them all Guardian helmets or something special that looks futuristic and cool, and makes it to where it's cool to watch without feeling like it's a bunch of kids with bubble wrap all wrapped around each other and they're trying to play on the swing set but they can't because the bubble wrap is just like blocking them from really doing anything to make the swing set or anything really move because it's mainly human interaction.
Yeah. I was like, how about knocker ball? How about those big like suits that don't have your legs exposed, but yet anytime you like collide and bounce off, you get sent flying.
But you know what I'm talking about, though, right? With the
Yeah.
Guardian helmets, I think they should
Yeah.
all wear Guardian helmets if they're that worried about someone getting hurt. And yeah, I get it,
Yeah.
like things happen, but like they also don't really try in the on the All-Star game, anyways. It's more relaxed. I feel like in any sport, it's more relaxed. I mean, maybe baseball, it's less relaxed, but like
Oh yeah, but baseball there's not as much contact.
yeah. So like it just depends on if there's more contact or whatnot. And in NBA they literally just don't do anything on defense. So they don't do
Yeah.
that to the playoffs anyways. But anyways, yeah.
Yep. But this will do it for episode number 134 of the Ruckus and the Menace Sports Podcast. Another great episode in the books for I'm Spence the Menace.
And I am Ruckus, always causing ruckus, and we better get that three-peat, baby. I'm really hoping that we get it. I want it bad. Everyone wants it
Fly,
bad.
Eagles, fly on the road to victory. Fly,
Crisco
Eagles, fly.
those
Score
light
a touchdown.
posts
One,
because
two,
they're
three.
gonna try to climb that shit and ruin
EAGLES. Eagles.
lose.